Okay, good morning. Welcome to our third session together. Thank you for joining me this morning. Before we get started, as with the other sessions, don't try and force yourself into any poses if they don't feel comfortable in your body. Really try and tune in and listen to what your body needs this morning. We're going to be focusing on twists today. So we'll be bringing a little bit more heat than we did in the last two sessions. So I hope you enjoy it. This half an hour is for you. So let's get started by taking a comfortable seated position. Let's bring ourselves onto the mat. And just take 3 breaths, 3 calming breaths to release any tension that we might be holding. And we'll start by gently closing the eyes or taking a soft gaze. And inhaling through the nose, filling the lungs. And then exhale, sigh out of the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And let's start introducing a little bit of movement now. We're going to send the arms all the way up, stretching toward the ceiling. Send the left arm down to the mat. Sweep that right arm over. Holding here just for one breath. And we're going to make this movement a little bit more mobile while taking that right arm and sweeping it in front of us, really stretching, extending that right arm forward. Bring the left arm in now and sweep that left arm up and out to bring us into the side stretch on the other side. And we're going to flow with this for 3. So bringing that left arm forward now, sweeping it in front, bringing that right arm and creating this nice flowing movement. One breath and then sweeping back round again. Starting to wake that spine up. Twisting, opening, stretching, extending. And one more on the other side. And then stretch that left arm up now. Take the right hand to meet the left. And then we're going to take a gentle twist to the right by sending the hands either side of the body. So right hand behind us, left arm in front. Extend the body up and twist over the right shoulder. And really breathe into the belly here. And then sweeping those arms back up, coming back to center, and take it round to the other side. So left hand comes down behind us, right hand in front. Extending up before we twist, looking over the left shoulder. Focusing on keeping those sit bones nice and grounded on the mat. And the twist is all in that upper body. And then bringing everything back to center. And then coming up onto the hands and knees, we're finding our tabletop position. And we'll flow through our cat-cow. So just making sure the hands are about under the shoulders, knees just under the hips. Nice, sturdy stance before we start taking our cat-cow. So we'll inhale, drop the belly towards the mat, stretch up, send the head looking up, gaze goes up as well. And exhale, pull the belly button in towards the spine, rounding the back, dropping the head down, finding cat. Inhaling to cow. And exhaling to cat. And then flow through this movement, following the breath. Taking your time, focusing on making that movement really fluid. As if you're one piece all together. Really finding the stretch and the extent of that stretch in each of the poses. Good. And then coming back to a tabletop, just having a little wiggle out before we take our threading the needle pose. So it's taking the left arm up, feeding it through the gap between the right hand and the right leg. Sweep that left arm all the way across until that shoulder drops down and reaches the mat, as does the forehead. And we'll take a variation today. Kick that right leg out in line with that left arm, just to include a little extra stretch. And just exploring that movement a little bit different from where we did last time. And then send that right arm up to the ceiling. And take 3 breaths here. Taking our time in this pose this morning. Feeling into the stretch. Nice. Then drop that right hand back down to the mat. Using that right hand to press up back into our tabletop, releasing that right leg. Just taking a moment to recenter before we do threading the needle on the other side. So taking the right hand now, feeding it through the gap between the left arm and the left leg, sweeping it all the way across, sending the shoulder down to the mat. Just shifting the weight onto that right leg to allow us to lift up and stretch the left leg alongside that right arm, sorry. And then when we're comfortable, sending that left arm up to the ceiling. And 3 more breaths here. Drop that left hand down to the mat. Use it to help press up and away to bring you back into your tabletop. And then we'll tuck the toes, lift the hips and press away into our first downward facing dog. Take a moment to spread the hands nice and wide, deep bend in the knee. We're looking for length in the spine. We're not looking to really press those feet away and send the body further over the wrists. Well, our wrists will get tired very quickly. So take a nice deep bend in the knee and pressing away from the mat. Pedal out that dog, sending the heels towards the mat, shifting the weight from one foot to the other. Taking a few breaths. And then find a little bit of stillness. And then we're going to take the left hand and take a twist in this downward dog. So release the left hand and place that left hand on the outside of the right ankle and look up and underneath that right armpit towards the ceiling. Just 2 breaths here. Bending the knee. If you can feel a bit too much weight coming through to that wrist. And then release that hand, coming back into our down dog. Start shifting the weight to allow yourself to release the right arm and take a grab onto that left ankle, looking up underneath the left armpit this time, up towards the ceiling, encouraging a little bit more twist in the body. One more breath. And then release that hand. Find your downward dog one more time. And then make that bend in the knee really deep, looking forward to the top of our mat, and either jumping or stepping forward to find our forward fold. So nice bend in the knees and the chest towards the thighs, grabbing each elbow with each hand, and just taking a moment here to release. Upper body becomes nice and heavy, stretching that tailbone nice and high. And then release the elbows. Slowly roll the body up, keeping the head hanging heavy until we find ourselves in our mountain pose. Take a little moment to ground through the feet. Really spread the toes. Feel the ground beneath our feet. And just take 2 breaths here. And we'll work into a little standing sequence now. Challenge the legs a little bit. And so when we're ready, we'll raise the arms up, sink the bum back. We're coming into chair pose, our Utkatasana. Really send the weight into the heels. So you're not onto the balls of the feet at this stage. We're stretching forward, firing up those legs, gazing towards the fingertips. We're taking a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to start shifting the weight forward, changing this to awkward pose by just lifting up onto the balls of the feet. Just challenging ourselves a little bit more for one more breath. And then drop the heels down, take the hands to prayer and twist to the right side. Hook that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Look up towards the ceiling, still sending the weight into the heels. We do have a tendency to shift the weight forward here. So just taking a moment, feeling into that pose. And then keeping the hands in prayer and hooked on that outside left knee. Start shifting the weight onto that right leg to allow yourself to lift that left leg and step it back. Ooh, she says. Keeping that twist. Creating a twisted lunge. And then release the hands. Send the left hand down to the mat, to the inside of that right leg, and send the right arm up towards the ceiling. Breathing into that twisted lunge. Finding a little bit of balance here as well. And then from here, I'd like you to sweep that arm round and back behind the body. And then as it reaches the left arm, we're going to come up into a low lunge, sinking into that right leg. Really working into that right leg, breathing here. Make any adjustments that you need. If you feel a little unstable, you might want to just adjust where the feet are on the mat, take them slightly wider. And then from here, rotate the body out to the left. Twist the left foot out so the short edge of the mat is in line with the edge of the foot. And sink into our warrior two. Taking the weight nice and evenly in both feet. And then from here, we'll reverse that warrior. Send the right arm up. Sweep the left arm down that left leg. Sink into the right leg. And then cartwheel the hands down. Send that right arm down to the mat. And send the left arm up to the ceiling. Coming into our extended side angle. If this is too deep, then we can send the right elbow on top of that left leg. Sorry, the right leg, and sweep the left arm over. So whichever variation you've taken from here, we'll start shifting the gaze forward, sweep that arm around, and come into a nice runner's lunge. And take 2 breaths here. Drop that back knee, untuck the toes, sweep the arms up into a low lunge. So we're really firing up that right leg. And we'll find ourselves working into the left side just in a moment. Send the hands down to the mat, untuck those back toes, coming back into the runner's lunge, and then shift the weight forward onto that right leg. Left leg meets the right. Halfway lift, just to shake out those legs before folding forward, grabbing each elbow with each hand. Slowing the breath down for a moment. And then sweep the arms up, finding ourselves back into our chair pose. And we'll take that sequence, but on the left-hand side now. Sinking the weight into the heels, taking our awkward pose, raising up onto the balls of the feet, just for 2 breaths. Before dropping those feet down, finding our twisted chair pose by hooking that right elbow onto the outside of the left knee. Pressing up into our twisted chair, looking up towards the ceiling. 2 breaths here. Start shifting the weight onto that left leg. And when we found that balance, send that right leg back. Keeping that twisted lunge. Pressing into both feet, finding strength in that pose. And then release the hands. Place the right hand down on the mat. Stretch that left arm up now. Sinking over the left leg. Finding the breath, calming that body down. And backstroking that left arm to sweep it around until it comes in line with that right arm. And then sweeping up into our high lunge on the left side. Finding our breath here again. Taking our time in these poses. And then open up the body to the right. Shifting that right leg open. Making adjustments where we need to sink into that warrior 2. Gazing over the left fingertips. Weight evenly spread in both feet. And then from here, reverse that warrior. Sweep that right arm down the right leg. The left arm comes up and over. Just for 1 breath here. Before cartwheeling the hands down to come into that extended side angle. Either the arm comes down onto the mat and we stretch the right arm up, or we take the variation of resting that left elbow onto that left knee. Finding that breath again. And then sweeping the right arm back and round. Placing the hands down onto the mat to find that runner's lunge. Sinking a little bit lower. Tuning into that breath. And then dropping that back right knee, untucking the toes, and lifting up into that low lunge, into the left leg. Two more breaths. Sending the hands down to the mat and tucking the toes, lifting that knee off of the mat and stepping that right foot forward to meet the left. Small halfway lift, lifting the chest, lengthening the spine before taking a nice deep forward fold, bending the knees, sending the chest towards the thighs, grabbing each elbow with each hand. And just taking a moment to sway out from side to side. And drop the hands, roll the body all the way up to find ourselves back in our mountain pose in Tadasana. And we'll take a short vinyasa back down to our downward dog. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, folding the body forward, hinging from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, shoulders back, lengthening the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, placing the hands flat on the mat. Step the body back into plank. Lower the body down in one piece. And then press the body up into cobra. Pointing the toes, keeping those legs engaged, elbows tucked in. And exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips and press into our downward facing dog. Make any adjustments you need. Step the feet forward a little bit, take a nice deep bend in the knee. And we're going to work with a couple of twisted dog variations, sort of a half plank, half dog. And to get into this pose, this is where we're ending up at. So we're coming into plank and then shifting the leg out to the side. So from our downward dog, we want to shift the body forward, coming into a plank. But as we do that, we're bending the knee. So we'll start with the left leg. So send that left leg nice and high, coming into a one-legged dog. Inhale, bend the knee, send the knee towards the chin. Exhale, twist the body out to the right-hand side. Look where the foot is going. This helps. And then sweeping it back up. Let's try one more time. Inhale the knee forward. And exhale, sweep it out to the right-hand side. Body's hovering all the time. Good. Send that left foot down. Pedal the dog back out. And then we'll try that little variation on the left side. Sweep that right foot up nice and high, three-legged dog. Taking a bend in that right knee. Inhaling forward into a one-legged plank. And sweeping the right leg out to the left. Looking to where the foot's going. Then coming back. And stretching that right foot back up. One more breath. Bend that knee. Inhale forward into the one-legged plank. Sweeping the leg out to the left-hand side. Coming back to center. Stretching the leg up. Send the foot back down into our downward facing dog. And then bend the knees. Press back into a gentle child's pose. Drop the forehead. Release the arms. And just take a couple of breaths here. Start slowing that body down a little bit. And when you're ready, just lifting the body back up. Tuck the toes, find that downward dog. Just for a moment to allow ourselves to walk the feet forward and to find a seated position. We're going to work into our boat pose a little bit now. So if you haven't taken your boat pose before, what we're going to do is take a seat here. I like to just grab hold of the knees and then start walking the feet back. Chest is nice and proud. Pull the shoulder blades together. And as you walk the feet towards the body, you'll find that little spot where the feet become a little bit light. See if you can raise the feet up, and we're coming into our half boat. Option to release the hands forward, or you can keep the hands on the backs of the knees, if that feels better for you. And then from here, Stretch the left leg long, but don't let it touch the mat. We're hovering a couple of inches above the mat. Take the left hand, grabbing the outside of the right knee, send the right hand behind, and look over the right shoulder for a twisted boat variation. And we're taking a couple of breaths here. And then bring the body back around to the front. Left leg meets the right again. Holding our half boat for a second before stretching that right leg out, hovering it above the mat, trying not to round the back. Right hand comes to the outside of the left knee. Left hand comes behind the body, looking over the left shoulder. And breathing here, really firing those legs up, keeping them engaged, pointing those toes. And then release back to center. One more moment, option to release the hands into that half boat. And then we're dropping the feet down. You might want to scooch a little bit forward as we send the arms forward, coming down and onto the mat. Releasing the body down. Walk the feet towards the body. And then grab the knees, pull the knees towards the chest. And take a little gentle sway from side to side. Take a few deep breaths now. We've worked into our bodies this morning. We'll start slowing ourselves down. With the hands on the knees, make some circles. Just releasing that spine onto the mat. Giving ourselves a little massage. Now from here, we're going to find our happy baby pose. So stretching the feet up towards the ceiling. Take the hands and grab the outsides of the feet with the arms tucked in to the insides of the knees. Drop the body back. Let the legs bend down and open it out to either side. And just focus on taking some nice, steady, deep breaths here. And release the feet. Let those legs stretch out nice and long. Give the legs a little shake. Send the hands down either side of the body, palms facing up. And then we're just taking a moment to find a bit of stillness now in our Shavasana. Let the body process the movements and shapes that we've taken it in today. It's important to take that time to let the body understand those movements, those sensations. And try and release fully here. Take yourself through a little body scan and try and release a little bit more every time you notice part of the body. So starting from the toes, working up through the ankles, the calves, the backs of the knees, the thighs, releasing the hips, softening the belly, unclenching the fists, nice open hands, releasing the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms, the chest. the shoulders, releasing the neck, slacken the jaw. Try and keep the mouth soft. Unfurrow the brow. And feel the head heavy on the mat. And in this moment, really finding full release and stillness. And then when you're ready, start wiggling the toes, wiggle the fingers, take a nice big stretch, as if you're just waking up. And slowly in your own time, rolling onto one side, making your way back up into our seated position as we started our practice. And just taking a moment here to close the eyes. Take a few breaths. And we'll finish today's practice by taking hands to heart center, giving ourselves a little bow, thanking our bodies for working hard for us this morning, and thanking ourselves for turning up, taking the time to focus on our practice this morning. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.